Good morning. I wanted to talk this morning about a gesture, or rather the performance of a gesture, which strays from the foolish into the offensive, from the ignorant into the incendiary, and it keeps returning. Not because it's misunderstood, but because it's misused, willfully, artfully, and sometimes, as you saw with Elon Musk, with a smirk, and now more recently on a BBC panel show, apparently with a giggle rather than a straight arm. And let's begin with my Latin teacher in a school just outside Leicester, who misled, or who insisted we began every class with what he called a Roman salute, arm outstretched, palm flat, chest puffed. At the time we were told it was a harmless nod to classical civilization, salve majesta, and then he would come in and say, salvete vos pueres et sedete. It wasn't a harmless nod. It was historical cosplay built on a fascist myth, and like many bad myths, it had already done real harm before we even met it. So to set the record straight, this so-called Roman salute has no basis in ancient Roman history at all. There's no surviving sculpture, fresco, inscription, or written record that shows Romans saluting one another with an extended arm like that. You will not find Cicero greeting Caesar with a Heil. And the myth begins only with Jacques-Louis David's 1784 painting The Oath of the Horatii. Three brothers swear loyalty to Rome, arms thrust forward. But David wasn't painting history, he was staging a scene from legend, and doing so with the rhetorical conviction of revolutionary France, and the outstretched arms were pure invention, a device to convey unity, heroism, and sacrifice. And then along came Mussolini. Mussolini, ever the showman, sought legitimacy by claiming Rome's imperial past, and Italian silent cinema in the 1910s and 1920s obliged him. Films like Calabria in 1914, directed by Giovanni Pastrone and co-scripted by Gabriele D'Annunzio, featured choreographed salutes that looked impressive on camera, arm outstretched, posture erect, not because they were historical, but because they were theatrical. And that's where the gesture came from, not from the forum, but from the film set. And the fascists adopted it, the Nazis co-opted it, and it became one of the most charged, horrifying symbols of the 20th century. So how do we go from that grim history to the light entertainment programme from BBC One? Enter David Walliams, a man whose defence is not ignorance but self-satisfaction, puffed up self-importance. So taping Would I Lie to You, he twice performed the Nazi salute, once under the thin cover of exaggerating a wave, and then again more theatrically with sexual innuendo, because nothing says I'm edgy quite like mocking genocide and groping the air. He's not a child in a Latin class. He's not a satirist unearthing dark truths. He's a performer making a gesture to provoke a response and to dominate a moment, to be the joke even when the laughter dies. This is not about ignorance. The Nazi salute, the fascist salute, the so-called Roman salute, they are not three separate things. They are one performance rooted in fascist, Nazi aesthetics, packaged in myth, perpetuated by people who think they are just clever enough to get away with it. When Elon Musk parades the gesture, some shrug and say eccentricity. When a comedian does it twice on a BBC Christmas special, there's no room for ambiguity. He wanted attention, he got it, and at what cost? The casual reintroduction of a fascist gesture on national television, the degradation of memory in favour of mischief. And there is a belief common among comedians that if you are just being funny, you're immune from moral responsibility. But comedy is not a separate realm, it's history's echo chamber. And when we ape the gestures of hate, even as parody, we remind the world not of our wit, but of our carelessness. So next time someone says to you, it's just a salute, tell them this: it was never Roman, it was never funny, it was never harmless. And if you're tempted to stick your arm out and try it, try holding a book instead. You'll look cleverer, and the world will think better